Hey everyone, welcome back to the Road to 2000 series. This is episode 7. A few days ago, I played against this player from America, XU Ku, his name was, and when I played him, he was at 1876, and I won. I won that game, and that was my highest ever win in Rapid Chess on chess.com. So, yeah, I was pretty happy about that win, and I thought I'd make a video of the game. In all honesty, it was a pretty, it was a pretty average game, to be honest. I think, he resigned too early because he was a bit annoyed with how he played, but yeah, I still thought I'd make a video because it was a bit of a milestone win for me. So, yeah, let's see how that one went. So, I opened with e4, as I always do, and he played the Scandinavian, which is d5, which I've been facing a lot more recently. I don't know if someone's made a video about it online or something, but it just seems like I keep playing the Scandinavian, so I keep facing the Scandinavian, so I don't know. I know Gotham sometimes plays the Scandinavian, so maybe he's made a video. I'm not too sure, but yeah, basically I take, e takes on d5, and my opponent played this knight f6 move, which I find is a bit better. Although I don't know the theory too well, but I think the main two moves are taking with the queen, in which case you play knight c3 and the queen sort of goes somewhere, normally to a5. And you've sort of won a tempo on the queen and developed, and yeah, I mean, normally it's, supposed to be not good to get your queen out early, but the Scandinavian sort of seems to be one of those exceptions where you can tuck your queen away, try get some quick development, and I think it seems to be okay for black. I mean, as far as I know, it's a pretty legitimate opening. So, yeah, so one option here is to take with the queen. Another option is this knight f6. And if you play the same move here, knight c3, then black can take this pawn with the knight. And the reason that that's better, as far as I understand, is that if you take back with the knight and then the queen takes, there's no longer this knight c3 tempo winning move to attack the queen because the knight's not there. It's been traded off. So, yeah, so you sort of have to play some other move, and that's kind of a slight improvement on the original line. And then if you play knight c3 and they take the pawn on d5 and you don't take back, like you play knight f3 or d4 or bishop c4, then let's just say bishop c4, then black can take this knight and sort of damage that structure there. So, yeah, I think in general I find the knight f6 line a little bit more challenging to play against because knight c3 isn't the best move. Yeah, so I think what you do in this scenario is just play d4 and knight f3, and when black takes this d5 pawn with the knight, you can sort of play c4 and kick it away and try win a tempo that way. Okay. So that's kind of what happened. I played d4, black took the pawn, and then I played knight f3. Pretty sort of standard developing move. I'm sort of pausing to bring out this knight because I kind of want to play c4 eventually to kick the knight away. So my opponent plays bishop f5, and here I do play this c4 move, but it's not a great move. I was kind of in my head. My first sort of developing moves were, or my first few moves that I had in my head were d4, knight f3, c4, and I kind of didn't address what this move did. So I played c4, and it's not a terrible move. It's not a blunder, but I overlooked this move, knight b4, which, zeroes in on this c2 square. Again, it's not a blunder. Like, I've got this knight b3, knight a3 resource to defend there. But it's not ideal. It's not really what I want. And now the computer's saying, even e5 or e6, both of those moves are quite good, defending this knight. And this is not really where I wanted the knight to be. And this sort of tempo winning maneuver on c2 is not what I had in mind. And you might be thinking, does queen a4 check work to win the knight? But it doesn't, because to either win the knight or to force the knight back and then pin it, I suppose. But it doesn't work because of knight c6, which blocks the check and also defends this knight. And now if you play d5 to try and go after the pinned piece, then white has the knight c2 check to win the rook. So yeah, that queen a4 check doesn't actually help in this case. But my opponent also didn't see this knight b4 move, which was nice. A little bit surprising that they didn't see this, seeing as though, they're the Scandinavian player, and they're the one that sort of pushed me into this line. So, anyway, that was nice. Okay, I developed the knight to c3. Yep, that looks logical. My opponent plays e6. I play bishop d3. I think I'm okay with the trade here. Again, I don't know too much about this position. I'm just sort of making moves that look logical. Trying to develop my pieces, get everything into the game. My opponent plays bishop g6, which to me looks pretty logical. I do know that, like, if you take the bishop and black captures with the h-pawn, this open h-file can be a bit scary, a bit of a threat for black. So yeah, I think I was kind of reluctant to take the bishop, and I thought probably just castling was better. But then white played knight c6, and I actually spent a bit more time thinking about this move, and the more I looked at it, the more it looked quite good, actually, because after bishop takes on g6, let's say pawn takes, black is not castled yet, and we are castled. So this move d5, kind of supported by the queen behind it, if you imagine this bishop's off the board, looks quite strong. It's quite a principled thing to do to open up the position, especially opening up the center when white's not castled. So I sort of went for that. It looked good and I went for it. I played bishop takes on g6. Black took with the h-pawn. And then I played d5. Not really seeing, I think, at this point, a clear win. But it just, looked better for me. I thought that if black takes on d5, I've got this rook e1 check, and sure, black can block it, but then this sort of central pressure looked quite good to me. And maybe even after e takes on d5, rook e1 check, bishop e7, computer likes both of these captures. I think I would have taken with the knight to try and put pressure on this piece. And this sort of, this looks good for white. I don't think it's sort of winning. Black can castle, I think, now, after takes. Or maybe that would run into problems, actually, castling. There's probably a tactic here. Check. If queen takes, you lose the queen. If knight takes, you can throw in this queen takes on d8 and then win the knight at the end. Yeah, so castling's no good. But, yeah. I think taking the knights could work, and maybe knight. Knight b4, then the queen a4 check becomes a lot better. So yeah, I mean maybe black just has to even go back with the knight here, and now this is starting to look very good, I think, for white. There's even bishop g5, I'm just noticing. So yeah, and of course this is not the only line, and it probably comes about just if black takes that knight, but still, I think my intuition was just telling me that opening up the position like this would be good. So I played d5, and black did not capture the pawn. He played knight e7. I'm not really sure why, but once he played this move, I sort of zeroed in on taking this pawn and if black takes back, they might throw in a queen trade, but if we go takes, then this sort of pawn structure is very weak. Is very weak for black. It kind of looks like a sort of, I think, like an Alien Gambit type setup, if you've fallen into that sort of trap or gambit, where, yeah, this pawn, you sacrifice a knight to take this pawn, and then this structure is sort of very difficult to deal with in practice. So that looked good to me. I doubt it was the best move, but pawn takes, and getting the bishop out, this looked really good to me. The computer's already saying this is almost +3, basically. So I didn't know it was that much, but I felt that this was really nice position. Black traded queens, and yeah, I mean, black's pieces are very tied up, Can't really long castles, that's illegal. Can't move the bishop. Yeah, this knight has kind of limited squares. My other rook's coming to e1, so it's not a great position for black, that's for sure. Okay, he played knight c6, which makes a bit of sense. I definitely don't want to take this knight. Sorry, take this knight. So that would just be improving the structure for no reason. In this position, the move that's crying out to me is rook f to e1. Again, it's not the best move. Apparently, there's a line that the computer's suggesting with knight b5. Just going after this pawn, but I don't think I saw that in the game. Really, I wanted to just activate this rook and attack this pawn. That was my thinking. But I kind of thought that after rook e1, maybe bishop b4, that pin was a bit annoying. Because sure, I could take this pawn with check. For example, rook e1, bishop b4, check, and let's say the king moves, and then we move back with our rook. Not sure what the best spot for it is here off the top of my head, but let's just say rook e2. After this sort of trade, this all of a sudden doesn't look as good for me anymore. So I didn't want to go into this, so I thought I'd just play it a bit slowly. Instead of rook e1, just play a3 to prevent that bishop move first. And I also thought like maybe b4, b5, or b4 and c5 could be a good option as well. Okay, black played bishop d6, which kind of encourages me to play b4 and then c5. But first I just play rook f to e1. Black plays e5, which I suppose protects that pawn. And now I launch my plan with b4. And this pawn is a permanent weakness. I'm threatening c5, which kicks the bishop away, and then you can take this pawn. I'm also threatening b5, I think, which kicks the knight away somewhere, and then we can take this pawn. So this pawn is defended by the knight and the bishop, and I've got two different ways to remove the defender. Okay, so now black castles, long castles. The move that appeals to me right now actually is knight d5 to just put pressure on this pinned piece. But I didn't see that in the game. I think I just had tunnel vision a little bit with removing the defender, which is not a bad move. It's not really a bad sort of tunnel vision, but the computer is liking the look of knight d5 slightly more than c5, but both are good. I play c5, and black retreats the bishop and resigns. So I definitely think this was a bit of a premature resignation. The position's not good for black, but definitely at this level, I think they should continue to play on. The sequence that I was sort of thinking about was probably, you can either take the rook or take the pawn first. I think if you take the pawn first, and black takes back and you take with the rook, there's no back rank problems or just blundering the rook problems because d1 is defended by the c3 knight, so that's fine. But probably taking the rook first is a bit cleaner. It prevents, your knight from having to go back. And not sure, probably king takes is better, I'm not really sure. But then we can grab this pawn, which is not the best move I'm seeing from the engine, but it's top 3. Knight takes, rook takes, and at the end of this variation, white is only up a pawn. So for sure these pawns are very weak, but I still think black shouldn't have resigned. Yeah, it's plus 3.6 according to the engine, which is pretty damning, but I still think that black should have probably played on and forced me to win this. But anyway, they didn't, and we got the resignation and we got the win. So yeah, that was my highest ever win. It says 1867 here, but they were 1876 before they lost this game. And yeah, I thought it was a decent game. Like, there were a couple of little things that went wrong, but I think the most important sort of idea of this game was to open up the center with d5 since black wasn't castled and I was already castled. So I'm happy that I played d5. I think that was probably the winning idea. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. This was another sort of review type format rather than the live playing one. But yeah, I'll probably do a mixture of both videos in the future. So thanks again everyone for watching, and I'll see you all next time.